Hello, my friends. It is day 163, and we're reading 1 Kings chapter 7 and 2 Chronicles chapter 4. But before we get into our recap today, I want to thank you for taking a moment to check out this video. Hopefully, you're finding the yearly Bible reading program to be exciting and helpful on your day-to-day walk with Jesus Christ. If you have not yet accepted the invitation, please do me a favor. Check out the description box below, and there you will find the link that will take you directly to the YouVersion Bible app, where you can join a number of people reading the Bible every day and leaving feedback on the things they're learning. I believe it'll be a tremendous blessing to you, and I pray that you will enjoy everything that is happening in the group and the conversations that are being held each and every day. Now, today we are looking again at the life of Solomon, the building projects of Solomon. One thing we know about Solomon, based on what we're reading, is that he was an incredible leader when it comes to governing the nation of Israel. Part of that has to do with his dad's resourcefulness. He just set him up very well and gave him a bit of a blueprint on what should happen once he becomes king. But the other part of that has to do with the wisdom that he received from the Lord and how the Lord graced him with the understanding that he needed to lead well. And I think that's something that we all should ask the Lord for in the various roles and responsibilities that we have. We surely should have that request before the Lord if we're leading a family or we're mother, father. If you're a spiritual leader, we need the Lord to help us lead in these things, because the things that we're expected to do, the responsibilities that we have, there's not necessarily a blueprint on it other than God's word, but you want to know how to appropriate God's word in the way that allows you to be effective and a resource to individuals who are somewhat depending on you. And so we see Solomon, he's doing that. I mean, he is a leader. He's a leader. And I love this. It's a good case study for leaders who are given responsibilities, especially if you're a new leader with a new responsibility. You probably want to study Solomon's life and some of his leadership practices. Now, there are two things I want to point out. When you look at 1 Kings chapter 6, it'll tell you in the last verse, in verse 38, that Solomon took 7 years to build this temple. So as we're reading it, it may come across as if, things just went very quickly, a year and a half, and everything was built. But that's not the case. And then the other thing is the palace that he built, which we see in chapter 7, that actually took 13 years. So what we see is 7 years to build the tabernacle, or the temple rather, and 13 years to build the palace that he lived in. And if you look at chapter 7, you can see that it was a pretty extraordinary building. But what we see is the order. The thing that was most important was the temple. The palace was necessary, obviously, because he's a king. But he wanted to make sure he did things in the right order. Now, it says a lot whenever you see that it took 7 years to build the temple and 13 years to build his palace. Not sure exactly what influenced that, if it was just the size. If we look at the size, we'll see, okay, let me just tell you this. In chapter 6, verse 2, you'll see that the temple was 90 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Solomon's temple, catch this, was 150 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. So you might imagine how some people may take that. Some people are trying to build Solomon's palace and also his temple. You can see the dimensions there. But anyway, I'm going to try to include a picture of the temple here so you can just see what that looks like, and maybe perhaps that gives you some understanding of how extraordinary it really was. But when you think about this, when you think about his palace, obviously it was massive and it was big. But these are the things that he did, and this is how he established himself as a king through his great leadership as a king, development, architecture, obviously building. That was his thing, and we'll see that will be something that he'll be greatly known for. And it's very important to notice this stuff, because he's going to become admirable to other nations as well for this very purpose. And we're going to see him make some decisions that he shouldn't make due to his success, but it's all a part of the process of learning and trying as much as you can to do as best as you can with what you have. And I think some of the things that get in his way is his ambition. Excuse me. It's his ambition that gets in his way. And we're going to see that as well. So you want to take in all of these things, the way that he's building this temple, the way he's approaching the building of his palace. And we'll see how it all turns out. But listen, I want to know what you think about today's reading. Leave a comment in the comment box below. Let us know what you're thinking. And I'm sure it'll generate some incredible conversation. But until next time, thank you for watching. Take care. God bless. And remember, live by the word.